Hi, we're about to do a whole microderm treatment. We offer an a la carte microderm treatment at my spa, and a lot of people utilize that treatment, and it's a real quick 20-minute micro and it does wonders for people's skin. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so today I'm going to show you a diamond microderm with oxygen. So we're going to cleanse. This is our quick microderm treatment where we cleanse, then we dry the skin off really well, and then we do the micro, we do a mask, and then we moisturize and send our clients on their way. So with her skin, we've just been working on the cheek area a little bit, getting that all brightened up. And this is a great treatment whether you're working on wrinkles, fine lines, pigmentation, acne, scarring. It's a really great treatment to help brighten all of that up, depending on what is going on with your skin. So it's important to dry the skin really well so it's not sticky at all when you start the micro, and we go all the way down to the décolleté when we do this treatment. So watch my patterns. I always start on the forehead. So you go across and you do, there's a crisscross method. And make sure your section's not too high and you're not letting the wand sit for too long on the skin, because it can actually hickey their skin if you're not flicking the wand off like this at the end of each little area that you're working on. I've actually been looking into, I can't find a great diamond microderm machine with oxygen. So sometimes people might like to move up with the wand. I personally like to go straight across and down with the wand. I find that flicking the wand off at the end, and if you pull the skin tight, that the skin, you can see there's actually less movement. And this is kind of the area that we're working on, so you can do a little bit of extra passes over any pigment, scarring, wrinkles that you're working on with a client. So if you do extra passes, it'll go a little bit deeper and everything will brighten up, smooth out a lot faster. And the cheeks can handle a lot, but you can kind of see when the skin gets flushed to a certain level that you should stop and not overdo it. You can overwork their skin and scratch them, which hasn't happened to me before because I'm very familiar with skin, but I did have an esthetician who did a peel on someone's back and then did micro over it, and this micro and our peels are so strong that we don't like combining them. So right there, the wand was stuck for a sec. So to do the neck, the best way is just to go straight across and go over everything twice. So now we're going to work on this half of the face. So I keep my suction fairly low, and something to watch out for on clients is you don't want to push the wand into the skin really hard. So you don't want to put a lot of pressure using your hand. You want the suction to let the wand glide across the skin. Putting extra pressure with your hand can be a bad idea. It's hard to gauge how much you're actually doing, so kind of let the suction suck the skin up into the wand and just glide the wand across the skin and let the suction do the work of the pressure, if that makes sense. You're just using a very light pressure. And I don't really think doing the décolleté and the neck takes a lot longer, and our clients really appreciate that we do a complete treatment of that whole area. So now that we're at the end of doing the micro, just kind of look around and see if anywhere can take a little bit more micro. Now, if they have pigment or if they have a little bit of scarring, when you do micro, let me turn this off for a second. When you do micro on someone who has a little bit of scarring or pigment, they're going to get darker pigment showing up for maybe up to a week, or the scarring may turn a little bit brighter red for either a few days up to a week. So make sure your client knows that so that they're not worried about it. I'm also mixing her mask. So this is the cucumber and cranberry base. Because I know her skin, I'm going to add some of the ozonated olive oil. So this is extra oxygenation, brightening, and calming properties that we're going to get in there. And sometimes I add a little bit of vitamin C powder. We have a pure vitamin C powder. I'm also going to add some of our herbal powder that we're working on. So this is kind of a calming. These are powdered herbs that we mix into our masks, or you can use by mixing water into them. Then when we blow the oxygen over this, it's going to infuse these ingredients into her skin, and the oxygen's going to push these ingredients into the skin deeper. If it feels like when you do your mixture that it's going to be a little bit too dry when you mix the herbs into the cucumber, it can kind of dry out the mask a little bit. You can take a little bit more cucumber before you do the oxygen, and you can put it on top of these ingredients so that the base is kind of like a strong serum. So I custom blend every single mask. You may also notice she's a little bit flushed right now, and this is what's so great about having oxygen in your microderm protocol. So this is what we do. We do little circular motions, and this is just the tube this is pure oxygen coming out. So just like a nebulizer, the only difference is the pure oxygen's going right over the actives in the mask. And you'll probably see her skin slowly kind of head back towards a normal color, they're going to be a little bit fleshed after you do one of those treatments. Something I didn't do, but you can also do, is with the machine off, you can do a little bit of dry microderm around the eyes with the section off. So you just use the little wand and you go really gentle, and you can do a little microderm with the wand around the eyes. So you go in little tiny circles for the first pass and go over the areas that are a little bit red, do a little bit of extended oxygen. And this is a pure oxygen, just like what would come out of an oxygen tank, but this is a tankless system that the machine creates the oxygen. And the original technology was created for people who were carrying around oxygen tanks, so they made machines that produced it instead of tanks. And it's a better, more advanced technology that doesn't require you to get oxygen tanks filled constantly. I worked at a spa years ago where they were rolling oxygen tanks in and out all the time, and they had to have a storage area for them, and it wasn't the greatest. So if I had done extractions, I would wipe this mask off. If they're a little bit flushed, it's a good idea to take cold distilled water. We actually made a little pump bottle that we labeled distilled, and we just fill it up with distilled, and then we replace the bottle often enough that it's not going to get contaminated. So it's a good idea when people get a little warmer, or you could remove this with a warm towel, or you can do it with cool distilled water, which will help cool the skin even further if they have a tiny bit of fleshing left over. And all different scenarios are normal. There's no one set of rules that fits all skins. So I'm flipping these inside out now. This is the side we just used. Flipping them like this so that I can wipe the rest of the mask. And you may have to do this 2 times to get all of the mask off. So like I said, the other option is a hot towel. But I go with whatever my client's skin needs, which hers I think she'll leave with less of the fleshing if we use the chilled wipes. And now you can see she really doesn't have that much. It's almost gone. So she'll be happy when she goes. But the neck and chest tend to stay a little bit more fleshed for a little bit longer than the face actually. And it feels a little grittier when you're working on people's neck and chest. They're a little bit more sensitive when you do the microderm over those areas. So make sure with masks you check under people's nose and you check their hairline really well. There's some up here. And then take your dry towel after wiping wet at the very end and wipe their hairline really well so that it's dry and there's no product in there. Mask hides down here on the edges of the neck. It hides in the hairline and it hides under the nose. So for her, because she's somewhat prone to breakouts and she's got a little more oily skin, we're going to finish with the plain hyaluronic serum. And the plain hyaluronic is safe after peels and microderm. I can't wait to get our ozonated sunflower seed oil because that'll be more of an oil that's safe on acne and oily skins. But you don't, after doing a lot of extractions or peeling or microderm, you don't want to put really strong active serums like vitamin C, for example, could actually cause an issue. And this is our liquid titanium sunscreen, which we're actually reworking right now. It'll be called Mineral Defense, and we've decided not to put an SPF on it, but it'll be a nice defense for the day. And you can see that her chest is now back to normal and her skin, besides a tiny bit of flushing, is back to normal. So now we're going to take the dry part of the towel and you can see how her hair is a tiny bit wet on the borders, and if you just wipe ever so slightly with your towel, it kind of dries the edges of the hair and cleans it. So people don't, you want to leave people's hair alone. If they need to go to work after a facial, you don't want to rub oils in it. We're going to apply some stuff to her lips. So we use 100% pure gloss and it smells really good and fruity. If it was a guy, we would use the squalane. The squalane oil is great for just men, or if you have a little plain chapstick for men. Obviously this has a tiny bit of color to it, so okay, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Please find me on Facebook at Jessa Esthetician, or ask questions on this video comment area, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Bye.